Welcome to William Steele True Crime and Steele of Spotlight Television and Public Relations. This is William Steele, and you know what? Florida trip, very, very interesting, very dynamic, constant state of flux, a hell of a lot of sinking thousands of dollars into a never-ending pit because things are so expensive and people are so unconcerned. Not Gary, not Tom, not Peter, but yeah, it turned out to be quite the experience here. But we're working on it. We're resolving things, and things are moving along. So thank you so much, everybody who's asked me how the Florida trip is going. So we did the Silent Partners premiere. Thank you, Cyril, for including me. That we're going to be doing the prison comedy, and then rolling into hopefully getting the screenplay perfected. My life story, lining up financing, and we have other people making offers, and we're looking to do you know, crew and cast, whatever. And a lot of things I put out might be premature. And a couple of people gave me advice, don't announce anything until you really are ready. And so like anybody else new with this, I've been putting out some feelers here and there. And I know the people I'm going to include for sure, which includes the gentleman that's about to come up here, Ignacio Esteban, Mac Chop Kenny. He's been a stand-up guy, Louis Balistrieri, my fiance, Mary Bass, to the extent that she might be willing. But there are certain people that have been real loyalists in my journey getting out of prison, and I believe in rewarding people that are loyal. I'm like Trump in that regard because I went through hell, with my past and my poor decisions, and I still have a habit of making some bad ones, not as serious as I used to, but nothing illegal. But there's issues here and there, and you live and learn, and you learn one thing. A lot of people, a lot of my fans are saying, "Hey, Bill, tell your stories in short clips. Tell us more about what prison was like, or your turnaround story, or what changed your heart, or your crimes, and all this stuff." Now, shout out to Matt Cox. He has people on there that really tell their stories about their crimes, but I like to tell the stories to get your attention and show you how far I've come, and that I'm not that guy anymore. And at the same time, it's reassuring myself that I have nothing but good people I'm aligned with now. Ignacio Esteban, Tom Madden, former vice president of NBC, um, Gary Greenberg, writer for the National Enquirer, my co-host, Peter Tickton, Donald Trump's attorney, all kind of incredible people, and a woman, that I surely don't deserve given my background. She's a squeaky clean person with a phenomenal education, and so I just I think I don't talk about a lot of these things because I do get choked up pretty easy. It's a lot of it's raw, and I think my fans appreciate that I keep it real. And there's a lot on the plate. There's a lot at stake, and we're going to be putting out more consistent shows. I apologize publicly to my fans and some of my co-hosts. When it was a lapse, and it was a lapse because of this constant drama that was brought to me from outside sources, and uh, a certain individual in particular just unreal, promises, reassurances, and then just like, and then you get tossed an empty peanut shell, and you're supposed to be grateful for not being paid for your work and everything else, and it's just the exploitation is, and then the decisions about what to do about it, legally or otherwise, and then struggling with my faith and forgiveness, and so it's been a struggle, and I thank you for all the private messages I got of support, uh, for things that are going on. Nothing bad, nothing insurmountable. Like I'm a survivor. I'm gonna survive. But guys, thank you for asking me in your kind words. I want to let you know that we're back. We're gonna have an upbeat show, optimistic. Sorry, I got a little choked up here a second ago. And I think part of me is not really ready to do shows because I've been pretty shaken up by everything. But um, I know I need to keep rolling. I need to keep my faith going, and I would love your support. So we're gonna bring Ignacio back on. He's been patiently waiting for me to, catch everybody up. Ignacio Esteban, retired ATF agent, my co-host for close to 2 years. He's the voice of Gangland Chronicles now, and at least one segment for now, I believe, on History Channel. And you guys know him on A&E and Hulu. with my reality show. So let me bring Ignacio on the screen before he hangs up on us. Ignacio,
Well,
welcome back.
I was listening, man. It's very touching, man. We know your story. It's a tough haul, and we're there for you, man. Just step by step. It's
Yeah.
life is not easy. Yeah, a lot of curveballs, that's for sure. We all go through it, man. It's how you handle them, that's for sure.
Yep.
But I hope it goes well for you with the screenplay. Your life story will be interesting. Story, that's for sure. I've heard a lot of your stories. It'll be a good one, and of course, I've written a lot of screenplays too. So, any good contacts, let me know too. We got a lot of interesting things we can pitch and work through. It'll be a good deal.
Let me just throw something on the screen. I want to try to present the show a little differently while I actually blow my nose. So you guys know that I was on Inmate to Roommate on A&E. It's about getting out of prison after a long time and living with people that are not your family. In my case, Mark and Shauna, she was my pen pal. And they were very, very controlling. And then, she had a crush on me, and I'm engaged to a beautiful woman who, puts up with a lot of this stuff that I'm going through and the drama that brings into our life. And so, guys, check out my show. And Ignacio, let me refresh you guys' memory. And those of you who are just new to the show and recatching up with us, Ignacio, retired ATF agent, wrote his ATF Undercover autobiography. Links in the description. So please check out our books, especially now during the holidays. So Ignacio has written over 80 something books.
Yeah.
He's going to talk about those in a minute, but we're going to roll into some cases. And in my first book, my co-author is actually a writer and editor with National Enquirer, AARP, Gary Greenberg, Nancy Grace. Her name is on the cover of my book. And this was discussed numerous times in the National Enquirer, New York Post, national media, as well as on Inmate to Roommate. They allowed me to discuss my book and why I wrote it. So Ignacio, let's roll into the show now that we've had a slightly different approach to the opening. And the reason I'm doing that is because it is the holidays, and it would be nice if people supported us. You guys all have, if you're watching this, you like true crime, current affairs, crime prevention. You got a career law enforcement guy here. You have somebody who's, could be classified a career criminal many years ago. That can give you different perspectives. And I like to think we're both relatively articulate and well-read on these topics that we're going to discuss. And
Absolutely.
so I do believe we bring a lot to the table. So if you're new to this and you like these sort of stories and crime prevention and where we don't just write books to give you salacious take on crime. We write them to educate. We write them to try to help you understand, how to better protect yourself from the people that I've encountered and been with, and the type of person I was, in fact, and the type of people that Ignacio has investigated and locked up. So, Ignacio,
What's going on, Bill, man? Hopefully it's a tough road, but guys, if you like what you see here, we've done, I think, easily close to maybe 150, 200 shows. It's been over 2 years. It was in October of 2 years ago, so it's been a little over 2 years doing shows together. Tons of shows to watch. Both of us have been guests, I think, all over the world, right, Bill?
yeah,
Between Australia and Europe and Canada, and of course all over the United States. So, watch our shows. You can go here to YouTube, Rumble. I also have a very good Facebook page where I do also a lot of original content. We get thousands of views there also. So check it out. We'll talk a lot, and we'll try to take it to a different level. So if you're watching this show and you like what you're seeing and you want to produce, you want to reach out to us, you want us as a guest, or you want to start doing shows together on a weekly basis, reach out to me on Facebook. Reach out to Bill on Facebook. Ignacio Esteban, right there. You see a name. You can reach me on Facebook very easily. I'll send back to you, friend me, and we'll talk about it. I mean, I talk about my background. For those who don't know, it's one of law enforcement. But before that, I had a bachelor's in political science and history, working my master's in international relations. Was going to go to law school. Everything changed with the internet when I put in for jobs with customs. Worked there 5 years, and with ATF. 21 years, did all kinds of cases, worked undercover, repeat violent offenders, gang members, armed drug dealers, home invaders, murder for hire cases, international traffickers, domestic firearms traffickers. And what's also cool too? Yeah, I've written a lot too. That's my book there, ATF Undercover. Also available on Audible. So if you're not a big reader, but you like to listen to books, I got the book there on Audible too, and The Most Dangerous Crime Syndicates of Our Time. And I'll hopefully have it down soon with Tyrants and Killers. But I've also done articles on Medium. Medium. I think, Bill, you're on there, 2 or 3 of them. I have over, I think, 86 now, Bill. 86. I just published one yesterday dealing with Mexico's endless appetite for U.S. weapons.
Right.
Very fascinating story right there also. So you go to Medium, check it out. Follow me there too. Bill, follow Bill also. I have had, I've sold over, again, I'm self-published, and you go Kindle Unlimited. And if you're frustrated with the publishing companies, you can publish your own work, which is what I did. And with Medium, you can write as much as you like. You can publish all your work too. So if you want to do smaller stuff too, you can do both. I think they're great to get your work out there and get your ideas. That way, you're not being controlled by any publisher, either a magazine or with books. You get your work out there. And I've had thousands of people read my stuff now. I think that's great, Bill.
He's incredible. I mean, he literally is likely eligible for the most books written in 1 year.
Yeah, I know. Maybe at the end, Guinness World Record will give me that one. The most books ever written in 1 year.
Shout out also to Paul Dale Roberts. I told you he was I think military intelligence. Then he went on to become a narcotics detective.
Okay.
He did I think 250 hours on a disco dance floor. He's in the Guinness Book of World Record for that. And then he's got like 85 books out. A lot of paranormal stuff, but he does some true crime and all that. So shout out to him. I didn't have Skype, and he's invited me to be a co-host twice this week, and we're gonna get rolling on that. Hopefully on a regular basis, because he's a good guy and he brings a lot to the table, and he's hooked me up with other guests and interviews, and I'm gonna have him on this show eventually as well. And we have our other co-host here that Frank's been out for a minute. We brought a new co-host in. We have Frank Lordi there, and he's out in Ohio. And then we have my fiance, Dr. Mary Bass. She's going to be with us hopefully more often with Wrongful Conviction Wednesdays. We're talking about Dave Michael Reinhardt primarily. And let's see. So, guys, if you don't know who I am, check out my show on A&E Network, okay? And we don't get into it much. I'm going to do like a quick, maybe a 5-minute overview about who I am, and then pin that to the top of my shows, because sometimes people say, you don't have to bring it up, Bill. We know who you are, but some people
do. Some people don't.
Right. Yeah. Right. So check out our books. Links are in the description. We have some real fast breaking news. Now, we have a new president that's moving along quick. He's making quick decisions. All our enemies are terrified of him already, that he's going to be back in office. They're already, throwing up their hands. But we have a huge unsolved murder case in New York, and we want to touch on that story.
That's
What's going on, Ignacio? What's the news on that?
That's a big story. He's still out and about, but I think they're tightening more. There's, with so many cameras and networking throughout New York City. I mean, there's unbelievable images all over. That's why he took the e-bike and he escaped by foot. Then he hopped on an e-bike, and he trashed. He lost or dissed his burner phone, but he had a counterfeit ID, I guess, out of New Jersey. But it appears, information is out there, that he took the bus from Atlanta up to I think New York, and stayed at a youth hostel area and near Midtown, and then did the awful killing. Shot dead. Yeah,
Ignacio, your experience in law enforcement and mine, with the other side of the law, and I was a law clerk for many, many years. I've heard a million stories of guilt, innocence, excuses, lies, truth. I've heard it all, and from both sides. My read is, if they know he came from Atlanta and was at that hostel, and I think there's finally a picture of him with the mask down.
A Starbucks.
Would your best guess be at this time they know exactly who they're looking for already?
Well, I don't think they do, because he had a fake ID, right? So that information he used, he paid cash. What I heard about the hostel right there. Maybe they're developing it now. They have his phone. I guess they recovered it. Maybe they get a print off it. But if he doesn't have a criminal history, that's not going to show anything, right? DNA, he's not been arrested. That's not going to come up either.
They recovered his phone?
They recovered his phone. Yeah, it's a burner phone.
Oh, did he drop it or just ditch it?
That's what I say. I'm not sure if he dropped it or if he got rid of it, but they got it. Okay. And a bottle of water that he had. So he made some mistakes where, if you're a professional assassin, a killer, you don't make those kind of mistakes.
You don't take anything that's going to be accidentally dropped with you.
You don't take anything with you.
Nothing with you.
You don't take anything with you, and you're not going to Starbucks before you do all this and flirt with a girl there and lower your mask for a little bit. I mean, you're not doing that.
I saw that image. He had the black portion down. He looked like he was smiling, and I'm like,
Yeah, he was.
done, dude. You're done, dude. You're done. You're caught.
It's gonna cost you there. His motive, I don't know. Like I said before, with the casing, he put there depose, delay, or deny. Or deny wasn't delay. I mean, it takes time to put that. What else did he put in some of the other rounds that he didn't fire? Who knows?
Right.
It's obviously something personal with the healthcare insurance companies, and they targeted this guy, Brian Thompson from United Healthcare, the CEO. They're there for a conference in Midtown. He stayed at the Hilton. He's walking across the street. He knew his schedule. He knew he was there. Interesting how he got that information. Maybe he watched him for a little bit. That part is interesting there because he did it pretty professionally. He popped out and he shot from the back, right? He has a silencer equipped with it. You don't see a lot of people having access to silencers.
From the imagery you saw, can you identify that? To me, it looks like a Ruger Mark 5 or 4 or something like that with a what do you think that is?
It has a suppressor, and it says 9mm. So the cases were 9mm.
So it's not the 22 Ruger that traditionally has the silencers on it.
Yeah, it's a 9mm. So they recovered 9mm. He shot well enough. He jammed it was jammed. He cleared it, and they continued the execution. So he was very calm. He took care of business. He didn't panic, and then he beat feet and hopped on an e-bike, and off he disappeared in Central Park.
Now, Mary brought to my attention, she found out that a data scientist, which is part of what she is and does, and she's a forensic accountant, that the data scientist identified the route of that e-bike through Central Park and whatever the route was. And so there's a big part of that. You can't minimize it. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle when it comes to the public and the investigators. So, like you probably always say, it's always a team. It's not just me. You might have
it has to be a team. It has to be a team to solve this one. This is a big one. This is a big one here. And they're using all the technology they can. NYPD has really updated this to go after this guy. They're gonna catch him because this guy wasn't a professional.
And I'm gonna take the other side of the coin just for a minute so that people know that we're not being callous towards other people with unsolved homicides. You say this is a big one. We say it. The media says it. This is a guy that was probably making couple of $100 million a year or tens of millions a year.
I don't know if he's a billionaire or not because with stock options he could be worth over $1 billion.
Right. So he's killed. He's a white male. So I'm a white male. So people would say, "Oh, look at all this attention because it's a white guy with money." And
the CEO of a major company.
How many people who are out there get killed or abducted and killed and on the side of the road, or a drug dealer or a robbery, and of color or of no means, of no income,
no value,
who can't get any media attention? They're begging for it. And that's why I invite their family members and investigators on this show to talk about these cases. I want to do a deep dive into an old unsolved murder in Boca Raton.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We mentioned it. I'd like you. I'll send you some information to get you up to speed, and we can do another show on that. But I'd like to get one of the investigators on here as well, and maybe family member. But these cases scream out for justice, and unless people are like really affluent, it seems like, or there's like a beautiful young woman involved or something. People don't seem to care about this. I don't even know how many. I'm gonna get the stats, but there's thousands, if not tens of thousands, of unsolved murders in this very country.
No, there are.
This guy's
getting killed all the time.
This guy's case, this case and picture have been on the news like nonstop on every station imaginable. Yeah,
everybody knows who Brian Thompson is, and I feel horrible. He's a 50-year-old. I believe he has a family. It's awful that he was executed like that. For what reason? Well, we'll find out what the motive is. But just what I'm looking at here is someone had an issue with either the insurance company that he was denied on some coverage. Maybe he had a family member die or something because of that. He got angry. But guess what? A lot of these CEO companies now, they have private security, and they're really concerned about this. It's not going to be copycat killings.
But sometimes, Ignacio, and I know because I did it myself when I escaped from prison, there's red herrings.
Yeah.
What if, and this is just an opinion, we're going over possibilities, and we're not accusing anybody. What if this is a spouse, family member, somebody who had something to gain, but knew that the threats were coming in this other way and said, "Hey, let's do it and make it look like this is the reason why." Throw people off. I guess I think you call that a red herring, or whatever.
It could be, but it's I'm guessing because it'll be a very complicated red herring. But I think with all the markings on the casings, this looks like someone who had a vendetta, had one payback, but made some silly mistakes. And got caught.
let me quickly say what my red herring was, the big one, right? So I escaped from prison. The morning I knew I was going to do this, I cleared my locker out in the prison of everything, like all friends, family, envelopes, took them all, flushed them, tore up all the addresses. They already had a list of your contacts. That's the first people, that you guys, the marshals and the DOC people are going to be looking at. Hey, everybody on your visitors list, everybody on your phone list.
Sure.
I get it, right? So you can't really do much about those. But everybody else extraneous, including ones that weren't on my list, I made sure to dispose of all those. I then took a pad of paper and I wrote like she'll be there with her, with the blue pickup, make sure I get the red hair dye. And then I said Tampa to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, 3 p.m. blah blah blah. So it made it look like a flight, right? And I pressed real hard on this yellow pad of paper, and I took that off, knowing that they would see the indentations on the next page.
Why did you pick Wyoming?
Just to have them looking for me over there, so I could get the
Wyoming. That'll be a tough one, yeah.
I picked Jackson Hole, right? So, and it looked like I was getting out. I was going to dye my hair, and I was doing none of that stuff, right? And I apologize to investigators. I set you on a wild goose chase because it came up. So I told the truth later on, but this is the first time I'm telling it publicly. And it was a red herring because I know that they'll pick up that pad. What's the last thing you wrote? And they do that graphite powder, and they can see
or you just put a pencil marker on it, and
right.
It comes up too. You don't have to do all that either.
Yep. So I made sure I wrote pretty hard, and they got that list, and it was part of my discovery. He'll be in Jackson Hole by 3 p.m. He's got somebody flying him out.
Yeah.
And they initially were looking there, and then they had the description wrong. They said I was like, 5 foot, tall, 300 pounds. That was on the bolo. So when I walked through this complex where they got wind where I was down in South Florida, I went out to get the newspaper to read the article about the escape. And it was a helicopter way above. And I'm like, oh no, they're on to me here. And it was just sitting there, like really super high. And all of a sudden, police cars and undercover started coming in real fast into the complex. I had a hat, sunglasses on, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as they flooded the complex, that helicopter dropped to almost right over the complex, right? Came down and just hovered there.
Yeah.
And now they're flooding in. I acted like I was out for like a morning power walk, and I broke into a power walk like this, and the cop was passing me, and I waved like what's going on? They're looking for me, and I waved, and they're like 3 feet from my arm. I'm in the drive, like the winding drive going up to the unit. And I'm not in the unit, but I'm not out of the complex, and so they're flying in right past me, and I waved. They nodded. They kept going to the building, right? So they overlooked me. They drove right past me.
Nice.
I glanced into one of the cars, and one of the guys got a clipboard with
your face.
Yes, with the blue background, the DOC photo of me. I saw it clear as day. Like,
and he picked you up. Wow.
No, they didn't pick me up. I kept playing it off. They circled the wrong building while they did that. I went back into the one I needed to go to because I had to get a bag out of there that I had some clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
And when I went in, they figured out their mistake and they circled the correct building. Now,
that's what happened.
Yeah, instead of me continuing to leave, I went back in the one. It was like 2 buildings over, like with massive amount of condos in it. The manager said, no, from the discovery, he's in that one, not H. It was building I or whatever. So they circled the correct building, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like 3rd floor walk up. I look out the blinds. There's like canines. They're all like, I guess it was the marshals and the DOC people. And the sheriff's
they want to get you, Bill. They want to get you.
They were coming hard, and Ignacio. They flew up the stairs. I stood by a plant in the hallway, like still, because I know they're going to try to do reverse look into people. They didn't know where the owner of the condo was. He'd let me stay there, but he took off somewhere, and only I knew where he went. So they couldn't get permission. They didn't see me go in, so they had no exigent circumstances.
Yeah, there. Right.
There's no exigent circumstances, and there's no warrant. So I was a law clerk, and I'm doing the legal math. I'm like, they're not going to cave this door in. They don't have him. They didn't see me go in, so there's no exigent circumstance.
And you were quiet as a mouse. You weren't making.
And I just froze. So boom, 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 boom. Mr. Such and Such. This is sheriff's office, marshals, whatever. We need to talk to you about your house guest. Boom, 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 boom. I outwaited them for like 20 or 30 minutes, and then I heard squeaking, and I went and I looked, and every car is like leaving. And I'm like, no way. They're posted up downstairs waiting for me to walk out.
There's going to be somebody waiting for you, maybe.
I waited about 30 minutes, Ignacio, and guys had his hand on my crazy life for a long time, protecting me because there's no way I survived this day. I literally eventually came out slow with my hands, one in front of my face, one in front of my heart. So at least if I got shot, killed, because they could shoot an escaped prisoner, there would be gunpowder residue and bullet holes through my palms of my hands. And that's how I was thinking. I was like, man, they're going to kill me. They're going to kill me.
They're gonna take care of you.
And I'm praying, God, please don't let me die like a dog like this. I just made things worse for my life, and I'm not trying to die.
And what year was this, Bill?
I came down. This is 2005. So I come down the stairs. I come down the staircase, and I'm saying, I give up. I surrender. My hands are in the air. Nobody at the next landing. I give up. Please don't shoot. I made it all the way down, and now I'm about to go to the parking lot, and there's blind spots on the right and the left, and then the car's all right there, right? Mm-hmm. So I figured right at the blind spot, they're gonna pounce, get on the ground, all this bullshit. So I'm like this, please don't shoot, please. And then there's nobody there, so I went like that, and I took off, and I got away.
You beat feet from there.
Yeah,
you got lucky on that one, Bill. Very lucky that they decide, then he hears something or saw something. I think I hear something. Hit it.
they surrounded the correct building in the end, and I was there. But
and they got the right apartment. You were in there too, so I'm surprised they didn't say, you know what? Maybe I do hear something in there. I think I saw. I mean, I talked to a neighbor. Hey, did you see someone in here now? Oh yeah, I did see someone in there. Oh really? All right, maybe it's time to
there you go. I mean, games could be played on both sides. But what happened was the guy had went to his barbecue at a church member's house and said, yeah, I met this guy, he's looking for a house in South Florida. He's staying with me. His name's Bill. I met him it was like a Burger King or whatever, right? And I think in Port St. Lucie. And that's where I was trying to steal a car to get further away from the area, right? Yeah. So he gave me a ride, and then he said I could stay with him for a few days. And then nobody thought anything of it. And then he didn't come back. When he did, the key disappeared that he gave me. And then he went through the motions of helping me look for it. So the people there had saw the news about the last time Bill was seen at the Burger King, and I wanted to get something to eat, but I put all my prison clothes in the trash at the Burger King.
Yeah.
I looked at the cameras, and I'm like, I'm not staying here. And I waved to the cameras, and that actually made it on the news. And then I walked out. So he said he met me there. So the guest at the barbecue said that there was a guy named Bill who escaped from prison who was also last seen the same time that you said you met a guy named Bill. Maybe he's the guy you have in your condo. And that's what happened. So the lady said she couldn't sleep all that night. She called actually when he got home. She said, Bill, tell me a little about yourself. We look forward to meeting you. And, I gave her some nonsense story. And that was it. She said she couldn't sleep the whole night. It was just bothering her. It was too coincidental, right?
Yeah, that was a close call, Bill.
Her next door neighbor was a sheriff with the sheriff's office in St. Lucie County. Yeah. And she went over to him in the morning and told us this narrative. He said, that's definitely him. He's at your friend's house right now. And that's how they staged up over there and came for me.
Yeah, I got you. Unbelievable. You've got some close calls. You have 9 lives, Bill. 9 lives, that's for sure. But going back to the point we were talking about justice and about Brian Thompson. And yeah, I mean, it's a big story. It garners, look at the amount of millions of dollars and resources. They're going to solve this because you know what also? I bet he has also a PI team, private investigators. The company also wants to solve. They want to know what's going on here. They want this guy brought to justice. And other CEOs, powerful people in the insurance industry, other businesses who maybe think, is this guy associated with maybe Antifa, a leftist organization, anti-corporation? You don't know who these guys might be associated with. They want to find out, is this a conspiracy of groups going after CEOs of these kind of companies? That's a big story. That's a big story.
The policy that they suspect is behind this, whatever, denying
there's a lot of stuff.
Money for anesthesia, prolonged anesthesia. There's one of the suspected motivations. Anthem, it is a new article came out here. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield reverses their policy decisions after the Brian Thompson murder. So all these companies are reversing course, putting on these different policies. I think there's one portion of it that had to do with AI denying people and making decisions that are like inaccurate or unfair or cost people their lives or comfort. Now you have people struggling to pay their medical bills because of these crazy prices, but these people are living like in palaces.
Yeah,
and they don't care.
We pay a lot in premiums, right? We have high premiums to pay. Let's say I talk about the insurance I have, and then you have deductibles on top of that, and then you still out of pocket expenses. Man, that's a lot of money. I mean, with healthcare, and a lot of times the insurance companies are not doing the right things either. So there's a lot of frustrations that I think that there still needs a little bit of work of insurance reform, and that's what you're saying. A lot of people being frustrated people dying, and not being covered and not having the money to pay for it. It's frustrating. Very bad, Bill.
There was a movie this reminds me of.
Oh yeah.
If this theory turns out to be true, Denzel Washington, I think his son was being denied like a life-saving medical care.
Well, you remember the name of the movie or no?
Oh man, I can't remember. I'm sure if Mary was here, she'd probably remember it. But
we'll look it up later. Yeah, I think there's something similar to a hurricane or something. Maybe something like that.
The Hurricane was one Bettina Gillois did the screenplay for. That was about Reuben Hurricane Carter, the boxer, triple homicide, and he got exonerated.
Yeah, yeah.
What movie was Denzel Washington in where his son was denied medical care and he took over the emergency room? I'm getting good with this AI.
Yeah, I see you like it a lot. I use
John Q.
John Q. That's it. John Q. Yeah. So it could be there's another John Q. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out what happened. But he made a mistake. A cruel mistake. Professionals don't go to the Starbucks before they kill someone, and they definitely don't lift their mask down. And you don't have a burner phone on you. You don't have a bottle of water. You have nada Zippo, and mistakes were made. But I'm hoping he is caught. But unfortunately, in New York City or New York, they don't have the death penalty. So this bonehead is only going to get life if he gets convicted, life in prison. Where I believe in obviously a death penalty when you commit heinous. This is premeditated, Bill. This is premeditated. Cold blood. Tracked him, followed him, hunted, and killed him. That he needs to be executed. A guy like that needs to be executed.
For the record, my position on the death penalty is always in a state of flux because on the one hand, of my faith, how can you justify the premeditated murder of somebody, even if they did something heinous?
I
mean, it's just, but
until it's your family member, right?
Until it's a family member, then you want to handle your business and do it yourself.
You want the guy. Actually, so I feel for that the thoughts are with the family right now. That's horrible. The wife suffering, the children. I mean, now they lost their father.
Our prayers definitely go out to the innocent people being affected by this, and we hope that between Congress and these executives, they start turning things around and making things more affordable, so that if this is the motive, these sort of things don't.
We're gonna keep an eye on this, and we're gonna keep on talking. It's funny. New York City is now being watched for two major cases. This one here with Brian Thompson's horrific murder, right? Gunned down in Midtown, which is a nice area. Midtown is a really nice. I've been in that area a few times, right there in front of the Hilton. Supposed to be very safe, and unfortunately, he didn't have his security team with him at the time. A lot of these guys are not going to make that same mistake again. You're not going to see that. The other big one here, the jury is deliberating right now on Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny, the former Marine who does the chokehold to protect the other passengers on the subway train back of May of last year. They were fearing for their lives. This guy, Jordan Neely, I guess, he looked like some of the video. He was out of control. He was raging. Maybe he was drugged up. He has allegedly a criminal history. Very upset, maybe on drugs. He puts him in a chokehold. He's a martial artist, a former Marine. He's still struggling. Unfortunately, he dies in the chokehold, but he's there. Like I said, his intent wasn't to kill him. His intent was to stop him. And unfortunately, he died because he was resisting. And now he's being tried for a manslaughter in New York City, which I think it's wrong. I think he stepped up. Well, there's no police. There was no one there. People were fearing for their lives. He did the right thing, and now look how he's being treated. I think it's wrong.
I think it's disgraceful to even prosecute him, and it really is a shame what happened to this mentally ill guy. But he had a history of violently assaulting people on the subway, which of course Penny didn't know. But he was saying then and there, "I'm going to, kill somebody today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And then the media, who I just look at most of the lamestream media as being a public relations arm of the liberals and the woke people.
That's why nobody watches MSNBC. By the way, Bill, it's going to get dropped by Comcast. People are tired of MSNBC. I think they're done. And look how these two, the couple right now, their name escapes me. They went to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring for Trump to get back in his good graces after they call him a Nazi, a fascist, and everything else.
Who was this? Which one's? Oh, the coffee one.
Yeah, Coffee Joe. Joe Starborough, and the other one.
Trump's not going for it. He'll like hold your enemies close, your friends close, your enemies closer. He'll play that move with them to utilize them, but he'll never trust them ever. I mean,
someone like that, man, what a clown. After all those name calling, and then he says, "Oh, man, we lost a." I guess you know what? The country's gone right. Well, we got to change.
I mean, the popular vote, the electoral vote, swing states, what was both houses, or
Bill,
whatever.
and I was writing about this, Bill, and I did the
Asleep.
videos. I said before the election, Trump was going to take, based on the polling, there we go, all 7 swing states. And I sat there, Bill. A nice 7, all 7 swing states, and he did, and I think if Joe would have stayed, Biden, and he would have continued, he would have taken probably Minnesota, Virginia, and maybe even New York. Look at the black version too.
Yeah.
You should keep it on. Keep it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it saying? What does it have on the side there, Bill?
I lost all my hair last night. I'm just kidding.
What does it
I
have on the
started
side?
losing it after I escaped from prison.
Bill, what does it have? 45 and 41. What does it say there? 45 and 47. Nice. 45, 47. What's on the other side? Never surrender. Yeah. Fight, fight, fight. Right? Never surrender. Fight, fight, fight. That was his motto. Fight, fight, fight.
He
Nice
came
hat.
up after being shot in the head, and his story. He
Here.
said, "I'm not going to talk about this once because it's not easy to talk about." He said, "But I knew I got hit, and I went down. The Secret Service took me down." He said, "But there was an area where I could see when I was down that people were aghast and thought I was dead." He said, and that's what made me come up like that. Like, fight, I'm okay, and fight.
I might be okay. I might do it.
He said, seeing the reaction on the people in the audience when he went down like that, he thought for sure that they believed he was
dead. Yeah, a lot of people did. Yeah, if this close crooks and of course, Secret Service should never let that guy get on the roof. That was a disaster.
They were grilling the head of the Secret Service yesterday in Congress. Was it yesterday? They had
deputy, not the head. He's acting. I think acting Secret Service. Yeah, him and this congressman from Texas were going back and forth and he's screaming, yelling at each other. It's interesting viewing. If you want to check it out on YouTube, check it out.
These are heavy responsibility jobs to be in. You need to be, a very serious agent like yourself, right. Probably very thorough. I'm sure you were very thorough, especially by your books and all that. They're always thorough and nice.
Thank you.
That's what you need. You don't need somebody who gets these positions because of their sexuality.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it.
You don't people need to check off the boxes. What the most important thing, Bill? People who are serious, people who are competent, right, and can do the job. That's what you need, regardless of
ethnicity. Honestly, I don't care what they do within reason in their personal life, but as they're handling their business when it comes to a job like that, especially because I know you guys sometimes provide presidential protection and UN protection.
I worked those details. Yeah, I worked those details. Working with either Secret Service or DSS, and at the UN and stuff.
The big one you guys go to is the General Assembly of the United Nations.
UNGA, United Nations General Assembly. So I got to know New York a few times in September, late September, which is nice. Just beginning to cool off a little bit. I had to see a lot of Manhattan and around there, and we travel around, stuff like that. But New York City right now, it's in the world's watching, Bill. The world's watching how they catch this guy, the murder for Thompson, and what's going to happen with Penny, the former Marine. Are they going to really? I think right now it looks like maybe it'll be a hung jury. It could be a hung jury. I think the second day out there. It could be a hung jury. And the question is, Bill, and I put that out here, is the city going to retry him again? Or are they going to give him, hey, listen, let's move forward and put this behind us? A second trial, that'll be awful. Right. That'll be just awful. Do it all over again.
I was just bringing up one of the shows I did with Trump. I was trying to search for it a second ago, but something else came on the screen. We're going to remind our audience, too, that, I'm pretty tight with
Peter Tickton.
Oh, my God. Peter knows Trump 68 years. He knows him longer than some of his family members have been alive.
Yeah.
Lifelong friend, his attorney.
They went to high school together, right? High school at the military camp.
Everybody I know knows Trump. We've been helping them out forever. We may not agree with some of the personal things, whatever, true or not.
You never agree 100% with anybody.
But he's highly effective as a president, right?
I think since we're talking about Trump, Bill, this is a good topic to transition to the scandal and what Hunter. The pardon for Hunter Biden, what Joe Biden did. He's pretty much letting the pardons. He's getting away. Hunter Biden was convicted, and we've talked about before, by a jury. And I said before, this is serious gun charges. He lied about it. He's a drug user. Look at the laptop videos. He should never have this gun. His former sister-in-law turned girlfriend, right, ends up panicking, takes the gun from the car and dumps it in a trash can in Wilmington, Delaware. Right, a homeless guy recovers a gun. He could have used a gun on someone. I mean, this is a very serious situation. A jury convicts him, and then he pleads guilty later to tax evasion, other tax charges, criminal cases. He's looking probably between 2 or 3 years. And Pops, the old man, says, you know what, Junior, I don't care. I'm not going to let you sit in the can, and gives a pardon, full pardon for any crime he might have committed 10 years in the 10-year window, right? Unbelievable.
Ignacio,
Who got a full pardon like that? Ford gave Nixon a full pardon like that. And he doesn't deserve it. The judge in the case from the tax evasion and the other judge from the other case are livid that the president did this for his son. And you know what I heard now? Rumor broke out that he's going to do it also for anybody who might be on Trump's enemies list, allegedly. He might give him full pardon so they can't touch him either. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on, where he does. But guess what? He won't pardon Trump, though.
I heard even Fauci may get a preemptive pardon. And you know what? The way I was a law clerk and you were in law enforcement, you might not know the extent of these pardons, but especially with the federal pardon, they can go back to your entire life. Anything you might even be under investigation for, anything not yet charged, anything pending trial, anything pending. You get a clean slate, boom,
for life.
They sign it. And so, yeah, and I think a lot of it, you don't know what kind of backroom talks they had. Oh, God, why'd you put that in an email? Well, Pop, I was on drugs. I screwed up. And if you don't pardon me, I might just have to cooperate with the feds against you and Mom. And, so you don't know what conversation actually went on because he's got a ton of dirt on his own father.
He might pardon himself, Bill. He might pardon himself.
Yeah. And look, I'll be honest with you. If I was president, I'd do the same thing. I'd pardon my son. I'd let him sweat it out, but I'd pardon him too. I mean,
he sweated, but that's why they have to change the whole system pardoning, where you can't pardon family members. There's a conflict of interest there. There's definitely an emotional component, a conflict. It's unethical. It is wrong to be able to pardon your own family member. That it has to be done by a third party and has to justify. He should have done some time, and then if afterwards you let him go, that's fine. Just like the former governor of Illinois, where he's a Democrat. And he did the show with Trump. Can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, with the hair, the Bovoyevich or something like that.
Yeah, that guy. He had big hair, black hair. By the time you saw him again, it was like all gray hair.
Yeah.
But Trump said, "Man, that guy got 16 years for what?" And if it's okay for trying to sell, okay, that's a blue collar crime, no history for selling the Senate seat. Okay, whatever. He already did 8 years, and even though he's a Democrat, he pardoned him. Boom.
You know what? Right. He went cross party lines and did the pardon.
But guess what? Bill, he did 8 years. Let Junior has to do some time. But Junior needs to go in the can.
With Bogoyevich, I think he was like governor was Illinois, I think.
Yes.
So I heard the recording. Everybody heard it. He didn't say he was trying to sell the seat. He just says, this thing I have is very valuable. Like, he didn't say it's worth money or pay me. It's very valuable. I mean, I guess he got to fill the seat that Obama was leaving with whatever. Of course, it's very valuable. The Republican or Democrat, because it's another vote to get your way, get things done. It has intrinsic value.
He got serious time. He got some.
Yeah, but I don't think he's like was like telling me, "Hey, give me $3 million, you got the seat." He wasn't saying that.
You think he should have got 16 years? No, I think Trump said he's already done 8 years for that. He said enough, already done.
The stuff with Hunter goes back, over a decade. Corruption with Ukraine, the prosecutors there, the war, all this stuff spiraling out of control, and so many people are now pointing to, clean cut, well-spoken media personality Zelensky and showing how corrupt he actually is, and Putin too. They're both
Putin's a piece of garbage. He's killed all those people. Putin is garbage, and good thing about Putin is that his time is coming soon because he has health issues, and hopefully Russia can have a free democracy once again and have something instead of having a dictator, a strongman, a thug like Putin. They deserve better than that. The whole region deserves better. He's a threat to our country, a threat to our democracy. He's no friend of ours. That's for sure.
He's old school KGB. His enemies all over the world have been killed with poisons and assassinations and all kinds of stuff.
Any dissident, and look at that poor dissident, Yavani, that was killed after. I would never have come back. That's for sure.
They gave him a radioactive material, and they got him in London or something. All kinds of people.
And then he has $1 billion palace out there in the Black Sea, right? And he says it's not his, but he has access to it. He uses it. It's just a massive amount of corruption. These oligarchs with Putin, the people deserve better than that. Instead of going to war, killing and slaughtered, and now he's using North Korea. We have to be careful with that. This is definitely dangerous and careful. North Koreans now have been sending over 3,000, 5,000 troops, maybe more now in exchange maybe the Russians are going to supply them the weapons they want. That's a problem. We have to look at that very carefully. What's going on between the North Koreans and the Russians? This could be the making of World War III. But hopefully there's peace made there. But I feel bad for the Ukrainian people who got massacred and slaughtered, and they're losing a part of their country. That's not right either. That's not right. So these are things we're looking at, Bill. That's wrong. But what's wrong was Biden done and what he's continued doing. This last 5 weeks, he is going to make sure he takes care of himself and his family first. And what's more important for his brother, Bill. His brother is just a piece of work, just like his son is.
I don't know much about the brother. What's the brother's name?
He was involved with the son, involved with the whole thing with Ukraine and China also. These guys have no experience as consultants in the energy sector. What were they doing? They had access. Access to who? Joe. Access to Joe. That's all it was. And his brother is just as much. So we're going to watch all of this and how it plays out. But I'm willing to bet he starts giving importance to other family members, other people in his inner circle, maybe even Kamala, maybe himself, maybe anybody else that could be in the enemy's list that he thinks exists. They're going to go after.
Mayorkas and Kamala should be in prison for what they did to this country.
What I think Kamala could be in trouble for, and this is my opinion, is that $1.5 billion raised, spent on a campaign, and a lot of it's not accounted for. There's some issues about it. Why are you paying for endorsements? Why are you paying celebrities, Al Sharpton? Why are you paying Beyonce, Oprah's company, Harpo? I mean, just for that ridiculous interview, I think they made $1 million, $2 million, whatever's out there. I mean, that is just unbelievable. If you're a news organization,
they claim she's under. This is. I'm not sure if this is
a commercial.
So this is an entertainment and a newsworthy show. We do breaking news here. We do crime prevention. We do
everything.
And a lot of us opinions of based upon Ignacio and my experience and his insights into law enforcement and how people really are and what is a crime and what's not, and mine as well. So
it's our observations.
In the case of Oprah, she had this stellar, profile, and she's evidently helped people. When you have billions of dollars, you can help people with a few thousand here and there. We have somebody who thinks they can make empty promises and not follow through on them, and struggle with your faith or by forgiveness and everything. But with Oprah, like, there's people coming forward saying like she's tied to Diddy in some way, and she was involved in the. I don't even know the extent of it.
I don't know how much she did it, but I do know one thing. They paid her almost $2 million to Harpo, her company, and that's like a paid advertisise, and that should have been. Like I said, it was a joke. If it's a hardcore news interview, because Oprah does those too, then no one should pay you. You come in, you do it. That's it. Not this softball.
Paid journalism on its face is prima facie established conflict of interest.
It's unethical. It's unprofessional. It's not acceptable. It shouldn't be happening, and it's been happening with all these companies, and that's why they're realizing people have had it. And so identity politics doesn't work. People have had it with it. They saw what happened with her. She was an empty suit, Kamala Harris. She was the queen of the word salads. She never gave good answers. Everything started with my middle class. I came from a middle class family, and it was just like, answer the question. What are you going to do to stop inflation?
She likes to do about the border. She likes to laugh, cackle, and talk nonsense. Let me tell you something.
We had her cackling Kamala.
We had her laughter. We had her laughter edited into one of the shows just to goof around with it a little bit, to have fun with it. And yesterday, my future mother-in-law, hopefully, she was listening to a bunch of parrots and parakeets and different types of birds on the internet. And I was in the other room when I heard one of them, and I thought she was looking at Kamala Harris, and it was the parrot going.
That's her. That's her right there. Awful. So where she's been? She's been hiding. Have we seen her since the election, Bill? She's the vice president. What the heck
she did something where she looked like she'd been on a bender, like she looked like she was all coming off a drunk or something.
Binge. Maybe she.
Continue the fight. What fight? People don't want that. It was like
they don't want your fight, lady. It's a loser. Your cause is a loser. And I remember she always said, on day one, I'm going to do this, this, and this. You've been in power for 3.5 years. What have you done all that time?
Nothing.
You're the incumbent. Yeah, they've turned the page. All right, they've turned the page on you and Biden. And like I said, one and done. That administration, one and done. I called it during the midterms, Bill. I wrote the book. I said, these guys are done. After Afghanistan, I knew he was done.
After that funny, disaster was over. They've been pandering and giving handouts to, people that really would like an education and a real job, and just giving handouts and putting people of color in prison for decades based upon Democrat policies and the true crime bill that Biden sponsored in 1994, where he called blacks super predators and they should get 20 years.
He lies about that now.
One, of course he lies. We have the tape of him saying it in the Congress.
You know what upset me too, Bill? He said he would not pardon his son. Remember that? How many times did he say he would not get involved in the judicial system? Right. He lied about that. He lied through his teeth. He is lying Joe. Lying Joe, dementia Joe.
You would think that somebody with that level of potential education and experience in politics would have couched it like, it's a difficult decision because it is my son, and I can look at it political or not, and my decision on that's not been made, and then turn it around on the report and say, well, what would you do? He just lied about it.
He lied about it, and then he called it a political witch hunt, which was what happened to Trump in New York, a ridiculous case out there. I mean, the right thing is all this goes away and go forward, right?
They're using that in the appeal now. They're saying he exactly said that about his son, what we've been saying all along about this prosecution/persecution.
And guess what? That case against his son wasn't political, though.
No, it was cut and dry. He was on drugs, carrying a gun around, and then threw it in the trash. And then I saw an interview with somebody who saw some interview with the woman that he was with that threw the gun out, and that he turned her out. She wasn't using drugs. He got her started using drugs.
He got his sister-in-law. It's awful. He got her. He's just a pariah.
You called it.
Joe Biden, one and done, Bill, and Kamala. It's Joe Biden, cackling Kamala, the queen of the word salads herself, who speaks in circles, couldn't answer any questions, was not fit, did not deserve a promotion, should never have been vice president.
So goodbye, this man right here,
fight all the way to the end. But one thing we'll talk, like I said, we're fair and balanced, right, Bill? I do like some of his picks. Like I said, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, outstanding. I'm glad that Matt Gaetz did step down.
What was his? He had a nickname for him before, Little Marco or something.
Little Marco, yeah.
He has that young boy appearance. He looks more mature now, but back a few years ago,
back in 2016, he has that young boy look, yeah. And he was calling Trump. Remember, he said Trump has small hands, and then that became there's nothing small about me during the debate.
Here's Trump's lawyer, Peter Tickton. We're in his office a few days ago. Myself and Mary.
Nice.
Peter's a wonderful human being. Check out the shows about Peter the day before the election. He's a little bit stressed out, God bless him, but we've had him back on since the election, and boy, he's a happy fellow now.
Well, one of the other cabinet picks, real quick. I want to go.
Real quick. I'll tell you some insight. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show we did yesterday with everybody. I said, Peter, what's going to happen with the J6 guys? He goes, well, I could tell you now. Literally him, and other attorneys, they have a committee reviewing the convictions. He said Trump absolutely is going to pardon everybody that got arrested and is in prison for J6. And he said, and it's on the interview, go to my channel and watch it. And he said, except for ones directly tied to violence, he's not doing anything for them.
Good. That's good. That's the right thing to do. Guys
I don't know if that's the first time it was
guys
announced.
Were killed, or seriously, or especially Capitol Police. Those guys deserve, who injured and hurt Capitol Police officers, deserve everything that's going to happen to them. That's good. Also, I think Pete Hegseth, I think he's in trouble, Pete, Bill. I think he's in trouble. The guy from Fox and Friends, who was former military, he's in trouble for Secretary of Defense, based on similar to Matt Gaetz.
Wasn't he reality TV star or something? I think
he's on Fox and Friends. If you watch Fox and Friends, he's a host on Fox.
There was one that was a reality TV star on like one of the first reality shows. Mary points that out all the time. She said, "Oh, that him and his wife."
You know who's also in trouble too, which may not exist too, is this guy Patel, Kash Patel, a conspiracy theorist and everything else, to be director of the FBI. Dude, he has now popularity. People who worked with him during the first administration, who have come out saying this guy is a habitual liar, allegedly, and he's involved in conspiracy theories, and he has no law enforcement experience.
Do you think that Trump knows that the attack's going to happen, then he's going to put somebody a little more basic in? Because here's why. I saw the guy interviewed the other day, and he said, on my first day, I'm closing down the Hoover building and turning it into a museum. And he said a bunch of other stuff, right? He said on my first day in. So he has people scrambling, but I think Trump is very strategic. He's letting the
he can't get it approved. There's no way that people are going to approve that. That's why Matt Gaetz had to step down. He even had to resign from Congress because he didn't want the ethics report coming out. So he won Pensacola. He stepped down right after the election because he was having sex allegedly with underage girls, right?
Somebody leaked or hacked the report anyway. I've heard that.
Some of it has come out already, and they talked about it, using drugs and orgies and all that stuff they're involved in, allegedly. Another one that's having a big issue. So Matt Gaetz out, Pam Bondi, excellent. From Hillsborough County. She was the AG from Florida. You don't like her?
No, no. Sandy Modell, Ryan Modell. Keep everybody on his mind. Ryan Modell was murdered. Pam Bondi and Ashley Moody and all of them refused to prosecute the killer.
Ashley Moody. I worked a case with her when she was a federal prosecutor. And her father is a very popular district judge in Tampa, which I've done a lot of cases with.
Those two and DeSantis have ignored the
DeSantis. Look at him.
Alleged corruption from Amira Fox, one of the prosecutors in Lee County.
Yeah. He's going to be Secretary of Defense, Bill.
Read the book, Murder and Corruption in Florida by Sandy Modell.
Yeah, you told me
Modell. His son was murdered. These people are doing nothing to prosecute it because the NRA is involved.
Here's the good news. If DeSantis becomes the Secretary of Defense, because I think Pete Hegseth is going to have to step down. He's just too embattled right now. His mother, years ago, after his second divorce, wrote an scathing email to her son saying, "You're no good, you drink too much, you're a womanizer, you cheat behind, you're doing this, this, and that." That's embarrassing for him. And I think it shows that his character is a flaw here. He doesn't respect women. He didn't respect his marriages. He didn't respect, when you do stuff like that, you need to be above. One thing, you're a Fox and Friends, but it's not a thing to be Secretary of Defense. And he's no experience to run an organization this big. I think he's in trouble. So if DeSantis leaves and becomes Secretary of Defense, Pam Bondi leaves,
you know what?
AG, then he might have new people in there to do something.
Everything you just said has been going on since the beginning of time. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it wrong. It's just some people hide it better. Yeah. And when you go into public office, like I announced I'm running for president, I've struggled with like every issue you brought up and probably then some, additional ones.
It's hard.
So
yeah.
My life,
you've got to have it up here.
Yeah, it's we all make mistakes. We all have things we don't necessarily want public, but it is what it is. You can't. I think the Bible says that everything done in secret is going to come out in the light anyway. One way or another. It might come out when you're 90 years old. It might come out, in 5 seconds.
And it doesn't help either when mom sends emails out there about stuff like that either.
Hey, we're bringing on a no co-host. We had him on yesterday, Tommy Harden. Tommy Harden was a former gang member in the streets of New York. And then he became a enforcer for the mob, bone breaker, bodyguard, collector with a lot of clubs in New York City. Turned his life around, became a bounty hunter, a very, very effective one for the most violent criminals that were on the run. Like all of us struggling with the background, we're trying to clear it up. We are trying to do the right thing despite some maybe missteps, and he's probably had a few, which we won't get into, and we won't get into mine. But Ignacio, I think if we put your life under a microscope, we might find something there too. But
maybe have a parking ticket somewhere I didn't pay. I don't know.
So there's Tommy with the star of Bronx Tale. He's friends with a good singer, that Franjo Lee from the disco era. She's had some of the top songs, and I was a huge fan of hers. I've been to her concert. And then there's another one with a rapper that I heard the name, but I don't know really his music. Ludacris. So he's come a long way. There's Ludacris and Tommy. So Tommy's going to be my new co-host. He has a redemption story like mine, slightly different story, but all the same. Horrific background. Nobody thought he'd ever change, and he's doing it. He's trying to do it. He's trying to make this work. And,
excellent. We had a show yesterday. It was excellent. We did a good show together.
So he's got a book out. He's got the documentary out, and we're going to be doing reality show. He's going to be included in some way, shape, or form. We're still working out the details, and that's it. So anything else we need to wrap up with before we wrap up this one?
No, just go check out our books on Amazon. Go check out mine. Go check out Bill's out. Mine also on Audible too. Check me out on Medium. Check Bill out on Medium. Medium.com. Great way to read articles. You get to read tons of good articles. And go check out my Facebook page. I got LinkedIn, Facebook page. You can see a lot of original content I put together about politics, about current events. And I've got, I think, over some of these shows get thousands of views. So go check them out. Enjoy the shows. Watch us out. We've been doing, Bill and I have been doing shows. Go Google our shows. Check YouTube for 2.5 years now. There's my other book, ATF, The Most Dangerous Crime Syndicates of Our Time, also on Audible. Don't know if you have that one available to pop up in there. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
I think you had sent me that again yesterday or something. So these are my two. I actually have 3. The other one, Vault Heist, about a true bank burglary and how it could have been prevented. I do crime prevention. These books are not intended to be salacious. And check them out for the true crime reader in your family. Or if you want an inspirational story, read those.
Hey, real quick, Bill, I'll make some quick predictions here. Like I'm good at predictions. I look at the tea leaves, and I'm good at what I'm saying here. First prediction here, they're going to get the killer, Brian Thompson. They'll get him within the week. They're going to catch this guy. He wasn't a professional. He made some mistakes. Daniel Penny, I think it's going to be a hung jury. Hung jury, maybe if he's lucky. Horrible situation. They convict. I think they can't. I don't think they'll acquit him. It's unfortunate, New York City. Too many libs in there, and the jury most likely. And they brainwash him to think, he's a racist, and he's black, and identity politics for everything. So that's bad. And the other prediction I have here, it's Pete Hegseth, like Matt Gaetz. It's going to go down, and it's not going to do it. And DeSantis will be the new Secretary of Defense. So I know you don't like it, but that's my prediction. That's my prediction. Like and here's another one. And Pam Bondi will be the AG.
They're letting the murderer of Ryan Modell go free.
Oh, yeah, I know. But that's my prediction right there.
We also have a segment called Mafia Mondays with Louis Balistrieri, Louis B, my buddy.
Louis B.
He came to Florida to hang out with me at the premiere of Silent Partners, and then my event at Capone Speakeasy. And so, again, check out the books. Links are in the description. Links are in the comment. And Ignacio shares the show.
And if you feel like, folks, reach out to us. If you want us to go on your show as a guest. Shout out. I also did a recent show with Michael Dowd and Nick Gerasi on Good Cop, Bad Cop. I've been on their show a couple times. It was excellent. Mike Dowd, of course, has a popular Netflix series, The Dirtiest Cop in New York and NYPD History, 7/5 on Precinct, which is very popular on Netflix. Check it out also. And feel free to reach out to us if you're looking to produce us. If you want to put us on a big-time show, we're willing to do it. Or if you want to do a reality TV show, let me know.
There you go. I got to wrap it up. We just went over an hour, but I can still work this out. Thank you for joining, everybody. We're going to do another follow-up show. This one's going to go out real quick because it's timely because of the murder in New York City that's unsolved. If you know anything, call your local police. This guy has evidently came up from Atlanta, shot a man in the back, killed him. Check out the beginning of the show, and
they'll catch him.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Ignacio.
Thank you, bro.